Hello everyone, good evening and warm welcome today to this seminar, Welcome Kit for Newcomers. If you are a newcomer, if you are somebody who's come to Finland recently or in past 6 to 8 months or even few years, welcome to this land of lakes and this land of forest. Today, we are doing this seminar, which is hosted by Friends of India. And Friends of India is an umbrella organization, an association where the ambassador is the patron. And it's an association which brings together all the regional and cultural associations based out of Finland into India, like Indian associations in Finland. As of today, we are 18 associations located in different parts of Finland in the capital region as well as other cities like Kuopio, Tampere, and even Oulu. As Friends of India, what we normally do is that we are organizing events and seminars which is addressing the topics relevant to the Indian diaspora. And based on that, today we come here with this event, which is a toolkit for newcomers. When you arrive in Finland, like today, it's such a lovely sunny day. And what I would be doing is getting on my ski gears and go for cross-country skiing. But if it was the same me who'd arrived 13 years ago, I had no idea what to do, where to go, what kind of clothes to put on, and how to get myself settled into the Finnish way of living. Thanks to my experience of 13 years and a lot of volunteers who are going to speak here today, their experience, we are able to compile a toolkit for you guys, which gives you practical tips of living in Finland, what happens when you come to Finland, so from landing to living, what is that you need to do from an onboarding perspective, from a healthcare perspective, from education point of view, as well as how do you integrate well with the culture, with the society, with the Finnish people. So this is a humble effort to compile all the information and bring it to you. Just as a note of disclaimer, this is based on our experiences and the information which is available on government or social websites. So I would request you to hear it out, but then use it at your discretion as applicable. With this, I would like to kickstart the event today, and I would first invite the ambassador, Mr. Ravish Kumar, to do a welcome note and give some words of encouragement. It's always his support and the platform he provides that we, people from the diaspora, are able to bring this toolkit to you. So over to the sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Vaishali, and thank you for setting the context for today's event. Good evening, people who have joined us virtually, people who are in this room with us here. A very warm welcome to all of you to this event. This is the second event which we are organizing under the Friends of India banner. And this is part of our active engagement with you all, with the Indian community. And also to bring practical cooperation, practical topics in the public domain for discussion. Today's toolkit for newcomers is one such attempt where our experienced panelists, they will attempt to navigate through different aspects of settling down in Finland after a person arrives in this country. Let us just look at the numbers, and then that perhaps will give you an idea as to what we are talking about. In 2018, we had 2,236 new resident permits, which were issued to students, professionals, and their families. This number went to very close to 3,000 in 2019, and then sharply came down in 2020 to 1,145, before picking up again in 2021 to 2,214. So on an average, we can say that we have around 2,000, 2,500 Indian professionals and students who are coming to Finland every year. Last year, more than 100 people, they got permanent residence, and this has been the trend over the last several years now. Now, these numbers, they are set to grow every year, because we all know that there is a skill shortage in Finland. There is a lot of encouragement by Finnish government to attract the best talent to their country. And it is therefore very timely that we have this toolkit, this event, to guide the newcomers on how to settle down in a new place. As you can see that there are broadly two types of newcomers in Finland: professionals and students, and of course their families. Many of the big Indian, Finnish and multinational companies, they have their own onboarding systems. They hold your hand from the beginning till the end. Some companies, they have a strong buddy system. I also understand that many community associations, you have your own support system where you hold the hand, where you encourage people to come to Finland, where you guide them through the process of settling down. And there are quite a few social media channels, Facebook and other platforms. They are also in the business of guiding people on how to make the best of their stay in Finland. What we are trying to do here is complement the efforts of all these segments, in helping you to settle down. But there are gaps. There are individuals who are left out of the process, and so are their families. In some cases, information provided is too general and not India specific. I do understand that the cities, they have a fairly comprehensive information about newcomers and how they can settle down in their city, but it is not India specific. We need precise information, and we prefer to have always a second or a third opinion before we can make up our mind on anything specific. Let me just give you one very simple example. If you look at the city of Espoo, they have a comprehensive information under first steps in Espoo on their website. If you want to explore education opportunities or options, it lists various options from early childhood till adult education. It also explains how to get admission in local schools. But the options of private schools are not given. There is no option or information available on international schools. There is no option to know if a particular school has an Indian language class, what are the hobby classes which are being provided. So when a person comes and tries to make a decision, I think he wants to be armed with all the information from how far the school is, how much is the fee, and whether your friends' children, they are going to the same school. Now, this is where a personal experience and this toolkit comes in handy. We also look for the best deal from schooling, housing, medical, and therefore we all look for additional information and facts which is very specific to our own process of settling in this country. And today we have a set of very experienced panelists. What they have experienced here will come in very handy. The stay will become comfortable and stress-free if we are armed with relevant information on various aspects of settling down in Finland. It is also a matter of huge satisfaction for us that this is not only our event, this is a community event. Our panelists, they belong to different associations with diverse profile. I thank all the panelists for taking their time out for this session. My appreciation to the Friends of India group, Coordinator Vaishali and Co-Coordinator Harini for their efforts. Many thank you for putting this together. Our effort will be to bring this toolkit to all of you at least once a year, maybe having a very specific session, depending on how today's discussion go. If we need a specific session on one aspect of navigating through the entire process of settling down in Finland. As always, your inputs are welcome. We would like to know from you as to what topic and what is specific aspects of settling down would you like us to dive in more detail. I welcome you once again, and I hope you have a very productive and a very meaningful interaction today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and good evening, everyone. And thank you, Vaishali, for setting up the stage and introducing the whole agenda, why we are here today. So without wasting much time, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the evening, and who would be doing the onboarding, which is, I guess, one of the most important subject that you guys, most of you would be here for, to understand what needs to be done once you land in Finland. So we have Chirag Sutha with us, and he's joining us online. So Chirag, over to you.
Thank you. So very warm welcome all of you. And let's say whenever we start with the onboarding, first, let's say we talk that, okay, you choose Finland. And then first question comes that many students or many newcomers or anyone who is looking to relocate, okay, why to choose Finland? Then I think we know all of the, the things which are available on the net, and then what the media house is presenting, that Finland is number one in the education system, and then number one happiest country and so forth. And let's say having a great work-life balance. But in my opinion, I mean, let's start with the positivity, because most of the many of people may come in the autumn and some other months who are having a longer nights and so forth, and then they feel that, okay, this is kind of dark, and then we are not getting to the pace here. And I would say let's wait for a while, because you choose Finland and that's the right place, considering that it has let's say cleanest air, cleanest tap water in the world, and that's not something everybody will talk about. The air what you breathe matters. I mean, another biggest thing is, let's say, the work-life balance. So we generally said that many companies are offering the work life, are talking about work life balance and so forth. And let's say they take, though they are working for 8 to 12 hours and so forth. But in Finland, you actually start your day at 8 or 9 and then leave your desk at 4 or 5, and then all your time is with your family and your hobby. So you really had your time to spend with your family, and then you can explore the hobbies. In fact, I had never time when I was in India to go and play any hobby things in the evening, any badminton. And I mean, I'm playing badminton in the evenings and so forth. Because we are having a different lifestyle. We consume a lot of hours in the commuting and so forth. So that is the thing, and we are happy here. Let's say this is called happiest country, because the work-life balance, the basic necessity, time with your belongings, time with yourselves is something very important to you. And I start with these slides. In fact, this is not part of the onboarding, but I start with these slides, because this is the first question comes on to us that, okay, should I move to Finland or not? So there are reasons to come here, and these are among things. Okay, let's move to actual onboarding process. I have very limited time, and then we'll quickly go through and try to cover as much as possible. So first step in the onboarding process is getting yourself registered in the DVV, that is Data Service Agency, and let's say population register in a simple terms. And whomsoever are staying in Uusimaa, Espoo, I mean Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa, there is a great facility, IA, International House of Helsinki, that you have all the windows coming in the one place. I will also talk about the rest of the formalities, but let's say you can go there and then do this population register. Now, couple of things that whenever you are going, I think everybody knows about this, but the first of all, that whenever you are going for population register, what are the documents to be kept? Residence permit, passport, your work agreement. And if you are coming with the family, then kindly keep your apostille marriage certificate, apostille children's birth certificate. And please make sure that you are registering there as a family, because many times that family ties are not established in the population register, and then we are facing a problem after a couple of months. And yeah, nowadays due to corona and so forth, it's a procedure that we got to take appointment for this DVB register or population register. and then it takes several weeks to get the first appointment. So my advice would be, let's say it's you have the email and the phone number of your local DVV office, whichever city, and then call them and then make appointment already when you are, start your travel dates are fixed. So this will be very helpful. And also whenever you are going for the address registration, then make sure that you register that as a permanent address. There are some consequences of register that as a temporary address. I will elaborate later when we are talking Kayla and so forth. So let's move next. Okay. Now, most of us, when we are applying for residence permit or when we are getting the residence permit, most of us would have the permanent identity code, that is your social security code, already in the residence permit. Some students don't have it, so it's always good to apply. I mean, we have to apply it. And let's say this is how you will be identified in Finland, where to notify system and the Finnish government that you are in Finland. There are two steps. First, you should have the Finnish identity code, and the second that you must register in the DVV. So when you are registering in the DVB, the Finnish government, the system knows that you are in the Finland in so and so location. Otherwise, you don't exist in the Finland. So this is the thing. Let's move to the next. Getting the text number and the text card. So whenever you know that whenever you are moving for a work, you always have the employment contract. If you are moving as a student, this can be done little later as well. But if you are coming with the work and so forth, the second thing you should do is getting a text number and text card. So again, the cities in Helsinki, Espoo and Vantaa, they can do it in International House of Helsinki. The links are very much shared here. And rest of the people the people who are staying in other cities can check that what is the nearest Vero office. The finished tax, you can still stay there. Yeah, finished tax system is for the calendar year. So you got to declare that what are the earnings going to be for that year. Students sometimes don't know that you have to give some forecast. You can give some higher forecast as well. I mean, the income what you declare, based on that they will give you the percentage of your tax. But when you go above that, it's very high tax rate will be charged. So it's safer to, let's say, declare little bit more than what let's say it's actually it is. And yes, you can also do this with the phone, and then you can always change the forecast of your income during any time of the year. So once you declare, let's say you are going to a 30 or 40,000, and you can always, when you have a new employment something, you call them and then they will prepare the tax card. So yes, let's move to the next. Kela. So Kela is a social security system in Finland. That's what it is being called. Here we have the full form of that. And this is this is the body that take care of anything and everything which is uh, coming from the government, whatever benefits which are coming from the government. It's a healthcare, unemployment, family welfare, student welfare, pension, housing, everything, any support you need from the government, whatever rights you should have, that comes from the Kela. So this is very necessary. You register for the Kela for very much on this first day. And then as I mentioned, for these three cities, it's International House of Helsinki, and then all the cities has their Kela office across all the places. So another reason that why should we have the permanent address being registered, that if you are registering with the temporary address and then you are applying for a Kela card, it can take several weeks or months to get your first Kela card. And Kela card is very important because that's a kind of your health insurance in the Finland. If anything happens to you, then the Finnish healthcare system will check your Kela card. I mean, they will check whether you are registered for Kela or not. And in fact, if you don't have the Kela, then the charges are very huge. I mean, very big amount of bills you will get at home. But don't afraid of that. Once you get the Kela card, you can ask for reimbursement obviously the Kela cat should be applied on the date when or should be started. Validity of that should be started when you arrived. So you should create an application likewise. So don't forget on that, because just this is a kind of season, many people are getting slip on the snow, and they are having some medical treatment, and they are getting invoice. So and still don't have a Kela card, but it's fine, you can reimburse it later, pay it for now. But be careful that you are registering with the permanent address, and changing a permanent address is not a big deal. There is a message in the link given in the first slide that you can always change your permanent address on the postie. Postie is a post office here. So postie piste fee, and there is a link that you can go and change your permanent address. So that is the thing. And also I would rather advise, whenever you are coming with a family, or you have any other situation, like you are expecting baby or something, do take appointment with the Kela. There are a lot of facilities, lot of social support being extended by the government in this kind of system, like childcare allowance. You are gonna get, if you're coming with a spouse who is yet to find a job, then you will guide you to unemployment channels, to Tay office and so forth. So go and visit them or call them and get list of the things what you are entitled to. In fact, we can elaborate now, but it's in a short time, probably we will skip it. But uh, make sure that you are applying for full Kela card very much on the first day with a permanent address. Let's move next. Yeah, bank account. So I mean, few of the this is another important thing. I mean, many people are coming here. First, they are waiting for first 4 or 5 weeks for getting a DVV appointment, and then they get their DVV registration, get the finished social security number, and then after they apply for a bank account. Rather, I would say that try to get bank appointment after a month or two or something, because whenever you are going to DVV, they will say you the expected duration, and after that, the bank account appointment should be taken. Currently, there is a huge waiting. There is a huge queue for getting a bank account in very popular banks, and so as try to get it as soon as possible. And for the first time, you will get one-to-one bank appointment to open your bank account. They will ask you that how much money you are going to deposit as a cash, or is there any continuous cash coming on, so forth. So whatever money you are getting as a cash from India, you just have to declare it and so forth. But obviously, before you get a bank account, you must have social security number and ID proof. ID proof here is probably passport until you get the police ID. And you should also, they will also ask you the estimated income. If you are unemployed, you obviously you are registering in the Kela and the Tay office, where you might get unemployment allowance. But as a student, I think this is important, because whenever you are starting any job, they will ask you the social security number and the bank account. So this is also very important to cover as soon as possible. And then on the bank account, the another tip is, let's say if you are getting very long queue for popular banks like Nodia and OP, who are offering banking services in English, try going to Espanki. Espanki is, they have the walking facility appointment, and those are available to Prisma stores. I mean, there are many Prisma stores. Next to the Prisma stores, there is a Espanki or S Groups Bank window, where you can go and ask for opening a bank account. They have limited English services being offered, but that would be helpful to you to start the work, because if let's say it already takes 2 or 3 months for a student to get the first bank account and start working, it might be accumulating a lot of expenses without any earning. Yeah, next. Travel card. So I think this is more specific to Helsinki metropolitan region. Here we have HSL, and then go to the HSL office, and then you can get the travel card. For that, you need to have the social security number first. Most of the, as I mentioned, most of us would be having, but this cannot be available before we are having that. Many universities are also giving letters, like as for I was saying, in Alto universities are also issuing the letters, and that get them HSL card faster in the process of HSL card, in fact, already before you get this DBP registration. And also, it is important to present your university enrollment document to the HSL office, so you get a student discount on the fares and so forth. Yeah. Next. Yeah, Finnish ID and Polish ID. I mean, either of you call it. This is also important things. This is not mandatory in a way for a registration, but it's always good to have. I would say that your residence permit or your driving license is no more a valid identity proof in Finland. If you go to the posti or anywhere where they ask to present your ID, then you should have a police ID or passport. I think it's always uncomfortable to carry the passport at all the places, so as it's advisable to have the Finnish ID. And the bigger advantage of the Finnish ID is when you have the Finnish ID and then you pass that to your bank. Now you can online authenticate yourself online and then fill up any forms, and any signatures are being done online. So you don't have to get the appointment and wait in the queues for days together. This would be very convenient to have, and even though it's not mandatory, we strongly recommend it to have it. And another thing, whenever you are getting a Finnish ID, don't consider that you don't require passport for traveling. Whenever you are moving out of Finland, carry your passport. This Finnish ID is good within the country. Yep. Next. Driving license. So good thing is Finland is exchanging the Indian driving license. Many people are asking us that do we need to have the international driving license? India also has a provision of issuing international driving license. I would say no. Get your smart card, whichever state is issuing. So get your license smart card where you can have the barcode and the photos, and that should be easily exchangeable. Do consider that it should be valid, and this license can be exchanged only within 2 years of your arrival. So do this process before you are completing 2 years in Finland. And to exchange the license, you just need your passport, original license, and the medical certificate. That's an eye checkup. So eye checkup can be done from the private hospital as well as city. Cities are comparatively cheaper, but you need to find a good appointment there, so that might have some waiting. And then make registration on Ayokorti. The details and the links are mentioned on the slides, and this will be shared. And then you can easily exchange, and they will issue one temporary license, and that is valid for 6 months. And by that time, you should get the Finnish license. And if you are not exchanging it, you don't have Indian driving license, valid Indian driving license, then you have to go for driving schools, and then also appear for a written and then the practical test. That might cost you more than $1,000 here. This is very simple things, but I think we are not used to use this kind of services in India using Google Map and HSL application. So I would say I also give this tip first to anyone newcomer, that you just put your two destination, select the bus or the public transport symbol, and what are the travel options to go to that place. And this is very handy, and it gives perfect travel literacy, as well as it will also give you estimated duration and so forth, so you can easily plan your travel within the city, or let's say Usima region. Or also this is good for across the cities and so forth. And the timing mentions are very punctual, and I think the bus or train or whatever mode of transport you are going to use should be there in a range of few minutes. Yeah, thanks. I think this is from my side in a short span. We could have talked much on this, but let's have Q&A session, and then if you have any doubts, we will answer it in a Q&A session.
All right, thank you, Chirag. Thank you for such great insights, and I'm pretty sure that people who have recently come to Finland, this information would be really helpful. And just in case anybody has any questions with regards to onboarding, please keep it till the end of the session, and we would be taking the queries from all of you. And with that, now we will move on to the next topic of the evening, which is the health, which is also one of the most important things once you move to another country. And to cover that and tell you all the information, we have a registered nurse from Mehilati Hospital, Soumya. So welcome, Soumya, please.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and a very warm good evening to everyone. So basically, about me. So I started my journey in 2012 as a practical nurse, and then during that years of studying, I explored the daycares and schools, so I have a little bit of idea how the system works. And I've also worked as a practical nurse in the geriatric ward serving the soldiers, and I also worked with children with special needs. And after that, I thought I had to get more education, so I did my registered nurse education. And during that, I visited like post-operative urology wards, neonatal ICU wards, home care, infection wards. And then I started finally working with cancer patients. And I also worked with surgery, with the surgeons assisting in the surgery. And now I'm basically working with cancer patients. So that is my journey. Now moving to information, today I'll be covering some basic topics like about public and private healthcare services in Finland. And if you're new to Finland, what is the information which would be useful for you? And if you're staying for temporarily in Finland, some basic information I'm going to talk about. And buying medicines, I feel that many people ask me, it's such a small thing, but many people find it difficult. And I'm going to talk about that topic also today a little bit. And just smallly, I'm going to talk about pregnancy and childcare and dealing with a sick child. And in case of emergency, what to do and where to go. And we usually forget or we don't like to talk about mental health, but I'm going to also cover that topic a little bit and something about sote. Yeah, so moving on. Basically, in Finnish healthcare system, it is like the public healthcare services. They are available to every person residing in Finland, and everybody is entitled to it. There is no inequality in Finland, so we don't need to worry about that part, which I feel very good about the system. And according to the Constitution of Finland, everybody is guaranteed to get adequate healthcare and also all the medical services that are required. And down the link, you will find the list of public and also private hospitals which are in Finland. So the public healthcare services, they are of two types. They are the primary healthcare services and specialized healthcare services. And primary healthcare services are available in the municipalities. So you can go to any municipality to get those services. And there, when you visit the doctor will assess your situation, and then he will forward you for a specialized healthcare. And specialized healthcare services are not provided in everywhere, but there are like Helsinki University hospitals, which are in Helsinki, Turku, Tampere, Oulu, and all these places, they provide specialized cares. But there are also like private hospitals, but they will be usually pretty expensive. So if you are coming like for temporary stay in Finland, make sure you have a good health insurance coming up with you so you can bear those expenses. So as I said, depending on the level of the care required, the doctor will assess and then they will only forward you for the specialized care. Unfortunately, you can't choose if you want a specialized care, but you can always choose which doctor that you want to get the care from. You can always have that kind of flexibility. So if you're temporarily staying in Finland, basically remember that Kela is the system that usually assesses what kind and what is your, depending on the purpose of your visit to Finland and your stay of the Finland, they usually evaluate your situation and then they will make a decision how much of care you are entitled to. So basically Kela, if you're wondering what is it about, I think Chirag also covered very nicely about it, but just very shortly, it's called in Finnish Kansaneläkelaitos, and in English it's called Social Insurance Institution of Finland. And it will take care usually of your social security of the people who are living in Finland, and also it takes care of the Finns who are living abroad. So that is shortly about Kela. And you can find more information on the link below. So if you're new to Finland, you can always obtain all the necessary treatments. If you have an European health card, then you can, and if you're temporarily staying in Finland, basically you can avail all the services. There is no limitation for it. example also which covers like acute illnesses, or if you have any accident, or there is treatment related to your pregnancy and childcare, everything is like you can avail those services. There is no limitation to it. But the need for the treatment must emerge during your stay in Finland. Like let's say if you have a chronic illness in India and you come with it, then it's a different thing altogether. But if something comes up in Finland, then you can definitely avail those services in Finland. You're entitled to it. And for always non-emergency purposes, you can always visit your nearest terveysasema, and they will guide you further. And also there is more information what is about terveysasema and what kind of services you can avail from them. That kind of information is available in the link below. I would highly recommend follow the links, because I'm just covering the basic information. There is a lot more in the links. Usually I get inquiries that, hey, I need this medication, can I buy it here in Apteeki? Unfortunately, if you have an Indian prescription, you cannot buy the same medicines in Finland. If you have a prescription which is made in EU or any EEA or in Switzerland, with that prescription you can buy the medicines. But if you go to just terveysasema with the Indian prescription and you talk about the situation, the doctor will make a Finnish prescription for you, and you can buy the same medicines but with a different company and with some different chemical composition, which are available according to Finnish standards and Finnish Apteeki. You can buy them, definitely. But you have to go and talk with your doctor about it. Yeah, also more information is available in the link below. So pregnancy and childbirth in Finland. Just to lightly cover, Finnish system somehow tries to encourage childbirth, and it's trying to give some goodies to the new mothers, and they give this kind of information sessions for both the parents if you're becoming the first time parents. So you can get those services in the hospitals, university hospitals, where they conduct the session, and they will give you more information about childbirth and how to take care of your child and everything, all those things. So to start with just the basic toolkits, you can get it available in local grocery stores or in pharmacies. You can get it done. And if you're working, remember to inform your employer if you're planning for the maternity leave and all those things. Try to go in a formal way. And just a small interesting facts about pregnancy and childbirth here. The services and maternity clinics, they're usually free of charge. You can just go with a Kela card to the hospital and get delivery done. It is as simple as that. You don't need to carry with you anything, and you don't need to be stressed during that part of your life. And as I said, both the parents can get all the information and help required when you're becoming the first time parents. And I don't know how many of you heard, but there is a thing called Kela box. It's also called in Finnish äitiyspakkaus. It is like when you, in the 6th month of pregnancy, when you go and inform Kela, they will be giving you like a small kind of a box. In the box, there will be like all the goodies that is necessary for the baby, which is enough for next 2 years. Like you don't need to really spend money on buying stuff. That is something very interesting. You find it in Finland. And remember, both the parents are entitled for parental leave. Like if you both are working, you can always apply for parental leave once the child is born. Yep. So this is the goodie box I'm talking about. You can see that all the things necessary for the baby is in the box there. And you will also get maternity allowance. So about the maternity allowance, there is more information in the link below. Check it out. So in Finland, there is a thing called neuvola. Basically, from the day the child is born until 7 years old, the neuvola is taking care of the child's health care. They are doing the regular checkups. There is a doctor there, and there is a nurse who is also giving you information. And the doctor is conducting yearly checkups, and there is a vaccination programs. And once the child is completed 7 years old, they move to the school. The school has their own nurse, and also a doctor is entitled for one area. The doctor will also check, like yearly checkups the doctor will conduct and the nurse will conduct. So that is how the system works here. But if you feel that you want to know more information about the vaccinations, how things work here, you can always check the links below for more information. What to do if my child is sick? Very, very basic thing is, you can always call your terveysasema, but unfortunately they have limited working hours until 4 o'clock. But there is always this kind of like nurse who is always available on phone. You can get consultation through phone. or you can also go to, if there is a situation you feel that there is pyevistus you need, it's like an emergency and you need some consultation, you can call this number as 116 and 117. So they will guide you basically. But if you feel like really it's an emergency, always call 112. So you will get the immediate help required. 112, it's basically when you call, they arrange these ambulance services. Do not hesitate to call them because they're quite quick and they're efficient and effective. And just to let you know that not all ambulance services are free of charge. Depending on the situation and depending on the seriousness, the costs will be charged. So yeah, just a tip about that one. And we have this kind of stigma that we don't want to talk about mental health, but as a foreigner coming to an abroad country and facing the language situations and the different climatic situations, many people go through this kind of roller coaster ride. Remember to talk about your mental health, make friends, socialize, develop some hobbies, go mingle outside, care for others, and have a good quality time, because there is ample amount of opportunities and hobbies that can be here promoted. Just spend your time very wisely and happily. And yeah, remember to just talk and be sociable. That's very, very important in Finland here. So I think if you're very new and if you're thinking about, you might have heard about this sote-uudistus. The sote is basically social and healthcare together, clubbed up together. They're planning the further activities. If you're thinking, how is it going to affect you? It's not going to really affect you. In fact, it's going to be much better that they're clubbing up in a way to help patients. They get all kind of needs required immediately in one place, and everybody is treated equally and effectively. That is the idea of this whole clubbing up system. And there will also be like collaboration and in 5 different areas, and where you will get all the specialized cares immediately also. So you can find out more information about the sote-uudistus. It's going to only bring the positive thing for as a patient, so you don't need to worry about it. And last but not the least, if you're planning to become a healthcare professional, it's definitely a booming area. Like I would give more information about it. When I was exploring for these opportunities here, people said that there are no English speaking courses here, but now there are many universities, such as I mentioned here, there is Laurea, Metropolia, DIAC. There are so many universities that are providing the courses in English. I would highly recommend that you go and explore, and yeah, welcome to the healthcare field. And if you need any information, you can always email me. You can find my email there, and you can find these slides also in the Facebook group, in the Friends of India Facebook group. And I'm wishing you a very happy summer, and yeah, have fun. Thank you.
This was quite helpful. So now if we do a little recap, so we have come to Finland, we have heard about the health. What is the next thing that comes to your mind which is most important? I guess the answer would be education. So to cover that, we have Chirag and Kit with us. Chirag would be telling us about the early education, and Kit would be taking care of the higher education. So welcome Chirag once again, and welcome Kit. So let's start with the education in Finland.
Thank you so much for this. So, as we know that Finland is well known for its education system, and it's ranking among the top in the world in many dimensions. And let's say we always, being an Indian, we always look that okay, it's topping, ranking top in the system. But let's say, how in our perspective are we gonna get any English medium schooling or not, or do we want to go with the Finnish medium schooling or what forth? So we are gonna talk about that. I'm also trying to see that how the decision flow of your getting into the Finnish or English medium school, or how the process would go. First of all, let's understand the education system in Finland. And as you can see that since age 0 to 5, I would say they will go into the daycare. That's early education. Daycare, it's called called here a paivakoti. At age of 6, they go for a preschool. That's kind of KG in the India. And then they will have the basic education till 7 to 16, till let's say standard 9, and then they go for Lukio. Thereafter, I mean, parallel to Lukyo, as we have in India, there is a polytechnic and then diploma courses and so forth, the bachelor and master that will be more elaborated by kids in the later session. So let's move to the daycare first. And yes, so this is the daycare 0 to 5 age, and then many of us, let's say in India, are not sending the child very early to the daycare because, but here it might be necessary and also recommendation because we are staying here most of the closed houses. I mean the doors are closed. We are less interaction with the neighbors and our relatives. So for the children, it's a very small space to be in a early phase of life, and it's limited time for his learning. He will learn very slowly if he is not with the most children and the different environment. So that's kind of something we recommend. And I mean, what kind of daycares we have here? There is private as well as the municipal run cities daycare, and daycares are not free of charge because this is something is not considered education. You can always keep your children at home and then let it be. Let him grow at home. You can teach them, but daycare are meant to be that you put your child to the place and you go for a walk. And applications can be made on the cities and the private daycare provider. Here I have enlisted, let's say, what kind of daycare it could be. It could be municipal daycare, it's a family daycare, group family daycare, evening daycare, and round the clock daycare. Let me tell you that municipal daycare is a city's daycare, and rest two are, let's say, private, or rest all the family and the group family daycare are private one, and also there are private players providing here. Evening daycares and round the clock daycares, this is something also important if you are working on shifts, and there are few people who are working on the weekends because the normal daycares doesn't operate in the weekends. So you have to tell to the system whenever you're filling up the form, or to the person whenever you are informing that you need evening or round the clock daycare if the case. Most of the daycare, though, you have to pay something, but it's highly subsidized. And then depending on how many children you are having, and what is your earning, the fees of the daycare would vary, and it would vary from 150 to 400 euros per month. It also depends how many hours the child is going to be at the daycare. It ranging from 4 hour per day to 8 or 10 hours per day. That all depends, and the fee depends on that. And private daycares are comparatively costly uh, uh, compared to government daycares, and I don't think that we have any English speaking government daycare. So if you want to put your child for English speaking daycare, then you have to mostly go for private daycare. And application of the city's daycare or municipal daycare can be made on the city's website. I have just mentioned one example, and then all the cities have their own web pages for early education system. And yeah, whenever you think that you want to put your child to the daycare, there is a waiting period. It varies from 1 to 3 months. So plan it early, make the application early enough that you reserve the seat for that place, because it is also ask you for the preference, which are the area or which are the daycare you want to give preference. If first obviously is the nearest to your house if you're planning for a finished daycare. And if the situation comes when you both find a job and then you immediately need a daycare to put your child, then you mention that elaborately, you can get very quick daycare. But in that case, it might be possible you will get a farer one, not the nearest one, or let's say not your first preference. So this could be the situation. And also, when you are putting your children in the private daycare, there are a couple of options, like science focused daycare. There could be sports focused daycare, and then some daycares are more focused to music and the physical activity and so forth. So it's possible to opt for this specific kind of daycare. There would be few to count in each cities, and few cities might not even have. But let's say if you are in a Usima, you might have this luxury to have this kind of various type of the daycare. And also, I would like to elaborate here that whenever you are going to the city's daycare, it's very good that they will be assigned with a special teacher if needed. They will look after the development of the speech, how the interpersonal skills are getting developed, how his motoring skills are getting developed, and those are well reviewed, well documented, and they will also discuss with you. Let's say in defined duration. It generally happens in a 2 quarter or 1 quarter, depends on the situation. If needed, they themselves will assign you to the speech therapies or whatever further course are needed. So it's very important, and that's why I mentioned earlier that it's recommended to put in the daycare, even if one of you are at home, if not for the full day, for a half day or something. So he look around with the more children and develop this kind of skill. Yeah, let's move next. Yeah, on the same note, I forgot to mention when the child is turning to 6, it will automatically mean the preschool, and preschool's premises are many times in the same Paivakoti or the daycare. Now, this is kind of bigger question. Most of us are struggling, or whenever we are landing on a work base or student visa, our childs are, I have seen the most of the people, childrens are in the early education phase, and then we are always thinking, okay, what kind of schooling options we have in Finland. And then we come across, okay, there are 3 or 5 cities who are offering, there are 3 or 4 schools, international school in Usima, or probably each big city might have one. And if we are not getting that, then what? Is it something ending a story? You have to put your child in the Finnish schools only. So here, let's say I would try to put some decision chart. If this is based on my experience, it could be different from individual. But whenever you are coming to the Finland, make application. You have this Maistrati or DBB registrations, your population registration, and so forth. Then apply for your schooling. In fact, well before you can apply to the schools on the to the principal or the secretaries by email, and then get appointment for the English medium school. I'm talking whenever you are whenever you want to apply for Finnish medium school, that's pretty easy. You call to the city and they will assign you the seat. So you make application to English medium schools, and they will conduct a test, and that's largely focused on your his English understanding, and partially would be also the curriculum of the respective grade he would be or she would be applying for. And then if test is clear, all good, you are getting a seat. If not, then there are two options. One is, let's say, putting them in a private schools, and there are also a couple of homeschool. I will show which are that in the list following. And another option is ask for a comprehensive schools. I mean, cities comprehensive school. When you apply for school in the city themselves take you to the comprehensive school, because they know that the child is not having that Finnish language skill, and he will not able to cope up what's being taught. So there are special schools in the class where child will develop his Finnish language as well as studying his curriculum. So he's not left over by the studies what he should have in that duration, and parallelly he is developing Finnish skills. This is, I would say, very good option if you're gonna coming with the perspective that you are gonna stay here for a longer time or permanently. After that as well, you have the options, as I mentioned here, that reappear after, let's say, having the 6 or 1 year of comprehensive school offered by the city. Go with you can either go with a Finnish medium school if you like that. You have already made the decision you are going to stay here permanently, then go. It's good, then you are continuing with the Finnish school. Otherwise, you can reappear for the English medium, and now you're adding a bilingual options. Now, bilingual schools I didn't mention earlier because that requires somewhat of Finnish skills already when they want for admission, when we are going for admission. So the child will develop some Finnish language skills during this phase, and then he's or she is getting eligible for bilingual school. So here you have the two options, and then obviously when it's comparatively easy to get in bilingual school than only English medium school. Now, one thing to be noted here is whenever you are applying for any English medium school, particularly when you are coming in Helsinki metropolitan region, because in other region there is only one for each city, do apply for your cities whenever you're gonna move, because the city will prefer to have a candidates who are residing in that city only. let's say you are coming to the Helsinki, there are two options we will show in later. If you are coming to Espoo, then you have Espoo International School. If you're coming to Vantaa, there are three options. So they will, if you are staying in Helsinki and applying for Vantaa, then they might not accept even though your scoring would be good. This is good, and we will just this is kind of process I would rather like to elaborate, and then we will just see through the list. Those are coming to the next slides. Yeah, so I will not elaborate each city's school here, and then because this material will be available on the Facebook group, as well as it will be shared to the people here attending this seminar. But there's a list of the schools are already provided, and then particularly whenever you are applying the school, I will just talk of the Helsinki here, because here you got to give a preference to the school which you want to apply. I mean, there is a one admission screening test, and you give a preference which one you would like to go for. So I have enlisted, let's say here, two schools which are English medium, and then another one, Kulosari, it's one or the same. It's then though it's a bilingual. And similarly, we have in the next slide for Espoo. Espoo has one international school, and then there is one bilingual school in Kilon Puistokolu. Popularly, Indian diaspora knows more on the Vantaa, only International School of Vantaa, but let's say just 3 or 4 years back, there are two schools added, Koivu Skula and Rekolan Maki. So do keep in mind that these are the also options for you. And I would just quote between the lines that it's comparatively easy to get admission in this school compared to, let's say, Espoo and Helsinki school, because these two options are new and not so popular among many foreigners. And in following slides, probably we have a list of the rest of the schools in other big cities and so forth. And there are only three other private schools I've enlisted, and in the Kilo I will just say one sentence on Kilo International School, Kielo, that this is home school. It's not, and so for the municipal officer would come and check the child progress and will promote to the next grade. So it's not like that. And the English school is grant in aid schools. You don't pay a full fees to this. Okay, that's all from your side. And then later we'll address more question on Q&A.
Thank you, Chirag. So over to you, Kit, for the higher education in Finland.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you for the organization. And good evening to everyone. I'm Kritika Srinivasan. Everyone knows me as Kit Srinivasan here. I've been living in Finland for the past 18 years and working for Aalto University for the past 10 years. And I'm one of those immigrants who started from ground zero in Finland after a full career in India. So, and all my career experience has been with higher education institutions, both in India and Finland. So I'm very, very happy to share my knowledge about higher education possibilities and what are the channels that are there existing for you, and how you can all the time expand your knowledge in whatever field that you want to be. Yes, next slide, please. You know very well that the education system of Finland is being praised for so many things, mainly when it comes to daycares and pre-primary education, but also in the case of higher education, Finland really tops the ranks. For example, in educating for the future index or preparing the graduates for industry needs, or just for the higher education system, which is very flexible and not age restricted, it is topping the ranks. So you have the best possibility to be educated in one of the best systems in the world, also in the tertiary and higher education levels. Next one, please. So the setup of international students, although it is not so well known outside the world that how international Finnish education system is, roughly 10% or a bit more than 10% of the graduates or the current graduates are international. And among them, I can see that at least 5% or more than 5% of international students are from India, which is quite significant when we see that only 10% of the students are international here in the higher education. And next one, please. Chirag covered quite well the early childhood education and the basic education in comprehensive schools. So I'm not touching the secondary education, but I can tell you what are the streams after basic primary and comprehensive education, which means after your child graduates from grade 9, what are the options for him or her to get into higher education, and what are the stage before that. So if you can see from the chart here, after the school education, then they enter into this upper secondary schools, or what is called in the Finnish as lukio. There are two streams after grade 9. One is getting into the general upper higher secondary school or lukio. The other stream is to get into vocational education. If you want to be start a profession of your own in a certain area, for example, it can be carpentry or beauty services or electrician, for example, then you have another stream that is going to prepare you as a professional in a specific vocation. So you can look into that. And after you finish the secondary education, which may take anywhere from standard 3 years to even 10 years, based on how you want to study or how one wants to study and graduate on his or her own time. Then when we come to higher education, what we call as tertiary education, we have two standard channels or streams for that. Finnish higher education system is comprised of two layers. The first tier education is coming from the universities, and the second tier education is coming from the universities of applied sciences. For people who are outside Finland, these names are a bit misleading, but to clarify them, universities are the huge infrastructures which are able to award up to postdoctoral degrees. But universities or applied sciences are equivalent to our higher polytechnics or colleges, which are able to award only bachelor's and master's degrees. So after you finish your master's and you move on to doctoral degrees or postdoctoral degrees, or if you're not able to complete your doctoral degree, you can also stop at some point, and what you can earn what is called as a licentiate degree. So this is the basic setup of Finnish education, formal education system. So next slide, please. Yes, a bit more to elaborate on the setup that we saw just before this one. The secondary education, as I told you, two streams. You just straight get into the lukio or upper higher secondary school, and you can try to graduate anywhere from 3 years to 5 years, because there is no time limit for graduation. If you earn enough credits and then earn that diploma, then you graduate. So the system is pretty flexible. The other stream, which is towards vocational qualification, it operates in 3 layers. The very basic layer is the vocational upper secondary school, or ammatti-opistot in Finnish. And then once you finish the basic vocational qualification, you can deepen your skill set by moving on to the next layer of education, that is vocational qualification, and then also to become a specialist in a vocation. So these 3 layers will determine you how advanced a level of a profession that you can practice independently. So it is based on that. And then these vocational education is complemented with many on-the-job training possibilities, and most of them are paid. So either you can complete your studies partially when you are studying with an on-the-job training, or you can have an apprenticeship for a longer period of time. Or you can also go with an education agreement, which is called koulutussopimus, which is a very popular option for many graduates who are doing part-time studies and also want to practice a profession. Then, if your child is a bit confused after grade 9, he or she doesn't know what to do, where to go, there is also a possibility for him or her to test a bit of if she or he likes any particular skill, and if he wants to develop his skills in a particular profession. So there is also this preparatory vocational education, which is called Valma. So he or she can just test his profession, for example, a designer or a beautician or a cook, for example. So the systems are very flexibly organized, and you can just enter, get a taste of it, jump out, and then you can try the other one. Because in Finland, the one thing that we have to remember is there is no age limit for studying anything. Absolutely no. So at 50 years of age, if you want to become if you want to become a doctor, there is a possibility. You study and graduate and do the necessary certification, and then you can practice as a doctor. So the tertiary education, which is the higher education, I mentioned you before that the universities and universities of applied sciences, you earn a formal degree. in various levels, bachelor's, master's, or PhD, or licentiate, or postdoctoral. But there is another stream which is not formally coming under the tertiary education or higher education by the Ministry of Education, but I have put it here for you to see the overall picture, which is called education towards regulated professionals. For example, if you want to practice as a nurse or a psychiatrist or a teacher, school teacher, for example, you are required to complete certain certifications, or you're able to you should be completing certain number of credits expected in a particular subject. So that is a different world. So based on the profession that you want to practice in Finland, then you have to qualify those requirements, and the language requirements are mandatory for most of these regulated professions. And the requirements for education towards these regulated professions come from two ministries, two bodies, I would say. One is coming from the Ministry of Education. Most of the professions are covered under that. But this health and social service related professions are covered by the Medical Council of Finland. The authority is called Valvira. And so now we can also look at the possibility for informal education, open education, which may fit most of our population here, because I think when we are moving to Finland, we are quite highly educated already in India, and we move towards either our own or our spouse's jobs. So in that case, if you don't want to go and do another master's or an engineering degree in a university, think about open ways of expanding your knowledge. And Finland is one of the best systems for lifelong learning, or currently it is also called as life-wide learning. In a population of about 5.3 million people, at least 1.1 million people in Finland, they complete courses, or they take part in courses which are organized through this lifelong learning or life-wide learning systems. So just to take a couple of examples from that is the vocational labor market training and the self-motivated education supported by unemployment benefit. These two are coming at a stage where you are going to be unemployed very soon, or you are already unemployed. So you get support, some kind of a subsidy from the employment offices. And if you have this continuous residence permit, which means type A, or permanent residence permit, which is type P, then you are eligible to get into these courses, which are pretty much organized by the employment offices, and then you get a subsidy to complete it. So they are a bit. They need a bit of criteria about your visa status and employment status. But the rest of the systems in my list, they do not need any qualification or prior experience in anything. They don't care if you are residing permanently or temporarily at all. So what are they? Almost all the universities and the universities of applied sciences, they have open universities, open studies, open pathway for studies. You can pick any subject from them. It's flexible schedule and very, very minimal fee. Maybe a course is costing like 30 euro per season, or for 10 credits, something like that. So those are your options. Then there is also summer universities offering specialized courses on specialized themes, which are very, very nice. And sometimes they conduct courses outside in parks, and they also organize trips and things like that. So this is one way for you to get into networking. So very pleasant ways of networking and studying as well. Then I told you there is no age limit for doing anything in Finland. So one example for learning is University of the Third Age. Not many of us would have heard of it. So there are specialized courses for people who are above 60 years of age. So they're very nice, and most of them are free for learning. Then one important educational source that you must promise yourself to check is this adult education centers. In Finnish, it's called kansalaisopisto or työväenopistot. So there are like hundreds of courses organized in hundreds of themes every year throughout the year, which are so cheap and so high quality that you should test and try. For example, any number of exercise courses for one season, it costs somewhere between 35 euros to 50 euros for 16 or 18 hours of classes trained by a professional, and how cheap it can be. And so think about it. You want to learn calligraphy or gardening or painting your walls. Anything is possible to learn from these adult education centers. The same way, for a bit younger population, there are also folk high schools, which are kansanopistot, and they run throughout the year. There is no designated application time. a variety of courses in variety of themes. So it's not just for younger people. Anyone who would like to learn anything can just enroll and learn. Apart from these, there are also a bit of technical and a bit of streamlined courses, which are massive open online learning courses, MOOCs, which are organized by universities or cluster of universities, also with collaboration from some industries or companies, or a company by itself is organizing MOOCs for the benefit of larger community. You might have heard of Elements of AI, which has attracted over 800,000 learners from all over the world, and that came from Finland. So these are just examples for you. Next slide, please. Yes, just giving an open view of the universities, how international they are. We have 13 universities in Finland. There is also a 14th university, which is called the Defense University, which is coming under the Ministry of Defense, which is not an academic institution. But the 13 academic institutions, the universities offer more than 300 international degree programs, and a bit over 10% of the students are master students are international. And university education is focusing on research-oriented education, very high quality research-oriented education. So what is University of Applied Sciences? Then you can go to the next slide, please. Next one, please. They are professionally oriented education. Research is a bit less in Universities of Applied Sciences, but they are more hands-on, practical, job-oriented education. And to do a master's in University of Applied Sciences, you need to have a minimum 2 years of work experience. And they offer more than 200 international programs, meaning almost 90% of the higher education degree programs are in English, which is a surprising fact when we consider the basic level of education, that is a bachelor's level education. It is just coming up with English degree courses, because traditionally they are set up to provide bachelor's degree education in Finnish and Swedish. So it's developing all the time. Next one, please. This is just a list of universities and Universities of Applied Sciences, just to make it easier to find the names and to learn the names and to check each of their websites. Next one. And just to tell you, there are more than 100 vocational education centers in Finland. Next one, please. I just took screenshots of all the different systems that I showed you as the possibilities for life-wide learning and lifelong learning, just to give you an example. For example, there is this Climate University, which is completely free for anyone to become a learner and become an expert in climate issues and sustainability issues. And there is spitech.io, which is a cluster of 7 Finnish universities preparing courses just to meet the Finnish industrial needs. So if you want to be preparing for any Finnish industry in particular, just check out the courses in fitech.io. For example, there is air pollution, battery chemistries, or even AI, anything under the sun. You can find a course for free and study. Okay, just an advice of where do I start if I want to study something? Is start with study in Finland website. Then if you want to go into a formal degree education, think well, research well, invest your time to learn the different degree programs offered by the universities and Universities of Applied Sciences. Every degree program, at least a master's degree, has a degree specific requirements. So read and read and read, make your list, prepare your documents very well. It's a straightforward process. If your documents are clear, then it's very, very easy for you to apply. And look at the timetables. Most of the application periods are coordinated, but some universities do follow a different schedule. So look at the schedule, program specific requirement. Next one, please. If you're considering informal education or open source of education, think, what is your purpose? Are you going for something as a hobby, using your time well, or do you want to add on to your professional expertise, or you want to gain knowledge in a new field, or you are starting something in a completely new field of expertise? So think, based on your purpose, choose the course and choose the certification, or and then commit to it, because when things are coming for free, many of us do not commit, and then we just waste the opportunity that is given for us. So commit and learn, and you can enjoy learning in any part of your life. Finland is the best place for that. I wish you all the best. I have given all possible and useful links for you. You can check them out later and reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kit, for those very useful information, and all this information would be stored for you, so for everyone who's watching us live today. We'll quickly move on to the next aspect, which is again one of the most important ones once you move to a new country, and especially when it comes to Finland. So let me introduce you to Ramya Sriram, who would be taking us through the cultural part and the cultural integration in Finland. Welcome, Ramya.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ramya Sriram. I live in Espoo along with my 2 sons and my husband. It's also been almost 10 years since here in Finland, and I work as a quality test manager in Sofigate. Thanks to Ambassador and Embassy of India for having me here today and talking this very important topic, culture and integration. The speakers before me, they covered most of all the important things already, what you need to know before you come here, you land here in Finland. But I would like to just reiterate on a few things which are very critical for you to know when you come here to Finland. One major thing is when you reach here to Finland, the integration. It is very important that we integrate here with the Finnish society. What are the things we need to know, how we could network and things like that. And where we can begin, the first place probably we can begin is the Employment and Economic Development Offices, the TE-toimisto in Finnish. So basically, they have a lot of integration programs, and what you could do is, as soon as you arrive here in Finland, go and talk to them in the integration office, and they can, for example, talk to you on various services regarding working life, education, and studying. And also, they have a lot of services, like I said, they can help you to settle here in Finland or find work or even learn the language. So it's very good to start there. And then they can also have an initial assessment and tell you what kind of program is probably right for you. If your family members move to Finland with you, they may also be entitled to these programs. So it can be that there are a lot of spouses programs and different things that they are eligible as well. It also has something to do with the type of visa that you're coming in. And then you can also register yourself as either unemployed job seeker or, and then if you're under 18, as a guardian in Finland and things like that. So this integration program is very useful. So I would really recommend everybody to go to the TE-toimisto as soon as you land here in Finland. And what is more important is when you come here to a new land where you don't have any friends or you haven't met anybody. So it's quite important that how you integrate here. To start with, it is a very good idea to learn the language, but don't be worried. There are a lot of people who still don't speak Finnish here at all. For example, my husband is here more than 10 years and he doesn't know a lot of Finnish, he just knows the basics. So you can survive without knowing the language, but I would really highly recommend you to learn the language. Yes, in the TE-toimisto, with the integration plan, they give you a lot of Finnish courses which you could apply and do that. And also, I have listed a couple of private places where you can also learn this Finnish language. And I highly recommend this because this is a place where you could meet people. So you can make new friends. So it's not about just learning the language. You're doing something fun, and at the same time, you're also networking with people. So it's quite important that somewhere to start. And also this Ilmonet is like how Kit also mentioned a while ago, another place where you can find hobbies. Like you can look for baking class or gardening class or other languages other than Finnish if you want to learn Spanish or French, for example. So there are a lot of different things that you could probably do that you can learn from Ilmonet specifically. Like that, the city, every city offers their own events and programs as well. So it's quite nice to be connected, to attend these events where you can meet a lot of people, where you can learn about the culture of the country. So once again, I've shared some links here where you can go and find out a little more about all the things available. And apart from that, other networking places and leisure, like this, when I first started, how do you make friends here? So this MLL is a voluntary organization. They had this Mahan Mutayan Yustava program, which is like immigrant Finnish friend. So you could like meet Finns there, and also not only you will meet a local friend, but also you learn the language along with them. So it was a great opportunity for me. I made a friend 10 years ago who's still a very good friend of mine. So you never know, these kind of places, you meet a lot of people and you learn a lot of things as well. Similarly, the libraries. Libraries here in Finland are very, very good. They have a lot of information, a lot of events, language cafes, t-shirt printing, whatnot. You can 3D modeling. There's a lot of things that in your free time, you should visit the library definitely, and you know a lot of activities from there. And coming to sports, these are links as well. So they will be sharing this presentation later. So it will give you in-depth information later when you drill down to these pages. But just to let you know, sports and outdoor activities, yes, it's very, very important here in Finland that you kind of have some kind of outdoor activity and sports all the time. Name it from cricket, tennis, badminton, golf, whatnot. Anything you can have a try. There are a lot of clubs here, a lot of local teams who are playing. So it's it's a good place where you could like really maybe find your own interest and hobby and things like that. And of course, theater and cinema. These days, we even have Indian movies releasing here, so that's as well. And there's museums, musics, and a lot of hobbies for children and young people, like how Kit already mentioned. So, of course, with this link, you can see what kind of hobbies are here. And there are a lot of lovely new hobbies that your children can learn, like skating, skiing, not only just children, also for adults. So these are things you should try, and probably good places where you'll make and meet new friends as well. And also we have another community called the Indian Women in Finland. And as part of the community, we also have a mentorship program where it's a great place to also network and make new friends, and also a guide for you to not only, for a career aspect, but also you learn a lot. It's not just for finding a job. Even if you're in a work, if you're experienced 10 years, you still might have a lot of questions, and it's a great place where you can grow with them. And like Vaishali initially said, there are more than 18 associations here in Finland. A lot of regional associations, name it Malayali Association or Tamil Sangam or Telugu Association. Every community have their own association. And then we have the Indian Women in Finland. There are a lot of associations. They all have their own social media pages where you can go there, go to your own community, meet new people, make new friends. And they have their own cultural events happening as well, where it's a good place for you to meet people and get information. Apart from that, you could even go to the Facebook groups listed here below and also ask any questions that you might have. And there are a lot of people who always come forward to help you with that. And also, a best way to probably get started even before you actually have a job or something in your free time is to do some kind of voluntary work. And I highly recommend this because this is some kind of experience as well for you. And also you're spending your time really very useful. So there are a lot of places where you can do voluntary work. Like for instance, IWF itself, we need volunteers all the time. We have a lot of work and we need a lot of help all the time. So yes, there. And then there's voluntary work, this Finnish Red Cross Recycle Center, volunteers in Finland. So a lot of groups, a lot of them always requesting for a lot of volunteers. So yes, that's that. And having the time in mind, I think that was for me. But if you have any questions or if you need any help, please feel free to get in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramya. Now, most of you must be wondering, the information that we have shared today is mostly the links and everybody's telling, but we have that covered because we really have someone today who's recently moved to Finland, and she would be sharing her personal experiences of all the things that we covered today with regards to onboarding and intercultural aspect and how she navigated everything in Finland. So let me welcome Kabira Khanna, and she moved in Finland in 2018. So please, people would be very curious to know your personal experience.
Thank you very much for having me here. Truly obliged to be a part of this information hub, I would say. So I'm myself Kabira Chopra Khanna, and a YouTuber and as well as a new mother. When I came to Finland about 3.5 years ago, of course, things were overwhelming for me, like for everybody here. So I'm going to share a quick story about myself. Of course, I too had a lot of anxiety, leaving my parents behind, who were, of course, getting older, and then leaving my job. I was probably, at a top level of my career at that time. But yes, I had it that in mind that I'm going to be there with my partner, and then, of course, building a new world. So that is why. And also, when I came to Finland, everything was so new to me. The weather, the culture, population, hardly you could see people on the roads. And also, when it comes to food habits, oh my God, just being from India and coming to a place here where food habits are just so opposite. So yes, of course, things were totally different. Climate, yes, it had an effect on me as well, because the darkness, which was in November when I came here, and of course, in December, and the about 24 hours of total daylight that we used to get in the summer months. Yes, it was quite intimidating, but I kept myself engaged. So I wanted an answer for it. How am I going to, beat the depression that we had actually heard while we were in India that, it does cause. So yes, I engaged myself in a lot of activities. Some things were so new to me. Have you ever heard that, people were actually walking in the frozen lake? Yes, we also did that, and now we thoroughly enjoyed it. Apart from that, something that, we all know that India is famous for is, farming. I had never done that in India. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people had never done that. But yes, we could own a small part of a land, probably rent it, and then, sow seeds when it comes to spring. And then I have actually grown a lot of fenugreek, methi that we call in our simple language. Also have grown so many vegetables which I, could never think of. So these things have actually helped me to engage myself. Cycling was also something that I always wanted to do and left it when I was in school. So bought a cycle and going into the woods and jungles just by cycling. So all these things actually helped me to engage myself in both the extreme climates here. And there is something else that also I wanted to share, that, there are so many peaceful moments, when you are in forest and in nature, because nothing comes to an end here. Walking in the forest, it was just so normal. Every evenings, once the work gets over, we can go into the woods, be it summers or be it winters or even in the autumn season. Also, I realized that, people are focusing on their life, basically. They're just not bothered about what the other person is doing. So there is a lot of freedom which I could get here when I was in Finland. And of course, I owe to Finland a lot that I've been gaining that kind of a freedom and also safety as a woman. Coming to the language, a lot of people have been asking me about the language issue through the social media and through the YouTube as well. That yes, although English is widely spoken in Finland, and even if people do not know English to a greater extent, they do try to speak or converse in English to whatever maximum way they possible. But we all know that Finnish and Swedish are the two official languages here. Hence, I started taking steps for myself. How can I be able to integrate into this particular thing? So I started going to volunteering sessions, basically, where I was able to meet a lot of locals. One example is in Tampere, while I was there, I was talking to a place called as Mummo Komari, where I met a lot of grandmothers, and, talking to them really helped to advance my Finnish language skills. So in the end, just I would like to say that, yes, moving from India to Finland was a big change. But I'm sure each one of you who are going to come here are going to adapt to this beautiful world, and where I can actually proudly say that it is now a home for me, a home away from home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kabira. And I'm Harini Prasad, coordinator of Friends of India. And I'm sure it was an enlightening session for all of us today. And it's so good to see so much of participation, even online, and with so much of information. I'm sure you all are having a lot of questions. We know that we are on top of the hour, but we would like to extend for 10 more minutes. And the session is now open for Q&A. But before that, I would like to extend my thanks to Ambassador Ravish Kumar to giving us this platform to host this Toolkit program, and to extend my thanks to all of the speakers to have the time taken out from the busy schedule and to make this information available for all of us. So we are now open for the Q&A session, so we'll quickly take a few questions today in this session, and you're free to reach out to all of our speakers, and the toolkit would be published on the Friends of India page. So yeah, the first question would be for healthcare, and so we have the question, if people come with 5-year-old child, how to register them in the healthcare?
As I said before, it's through Kela. And if you're interested more about the vaccination programs, if you're having a vaccination certificate from India, you just carry it and go to your nearest Nevola center. So they will assess what are the vaccinations the child has received, and accordingly they will be planning your further care. But as I said, you have to register yourself first into the Kela system, and then you will benefit all the healthcare services.
Thank you, Soumya. And the information you've given so far was really helpful. And I hope people do reach out to you for more questions. Thank you so much.
I hope so. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question we have is for, I think Chirag can take this. Will Kela card processing take place if DVV registration is still pending and the waiting time is approximately 2 or 3 months?
I think until the DVP registration is done, you probably will not have the Kela card. And it is longer in Osima. It's lesser in, smaller towns around it. So it's not definitely we can define it's, let's say 4 week or let's say 12 week or something like that. But as I mentioned, first you got to have the DVB registration, apply parallelly for the Kela card. But when you have the DVB registration, then only you will get it. And in between, if you have any medical issues or any other issues, you have to pay it by yourself. And later, when you have the Kela card, you can reimburse that from the city. Kela officer, call the Kela officer. They will guide you for the reimbursement and rest of the procedure.
The next one is the most typical one. So can we survive if we don't know Finnish language? And do we get vegetarian? I think we can have this combined question for Ramya.
Like I already mentioned, can you survive without Finnish language? Definitely. There are a lot of people I know who don't know Finnish at all, so don't worry about the language. So most of them speak English here, so you're fine. But like I said, I would recommend you to learn the language. It's very nice to integrate here. And being vegetarian is not an issue at all. To tell you, there are more vegan options, vegetarian options here in Finland, so that shouldn't be a problem because I am myself a vegetarian, so there are a lot of options here to be a vegetarian. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I could add to the vegetarian part, Ramya. So there's a lot of options and good meat substitutes. So vegetarian food with good options to get your proteins, unlike you don't find that much in India. I was just coming back from India and I realized there are more options here in Finland. So I've been a vegetarian all my life and not an issue at all.
Question where they are asking if they're able to survive Finnish winters.
Absolutely. At least I have been living here for 13 years. And like they say, it's never about how cold it is. It's about how well dressed you are. So everything is about the right clothing. In India, I'm from Mumbai, so we used to have the same weather all throughout. We never had clothes for spring and autumn and winter and summer. Yes, here your wardrobe will have all these types of clothes, but if you're having the right clothing for the right weather, you can always survive. So maximum I've taken is minus 30 or something, and it was still okay. So, yep.
Adding to that, what you're saying is absolutely right. Plus, the homes here are like warm. Most of the things are absolutely warm here. So you just actually, like what she just mentioned, she said that, you actually need the apt clothes when you're outside. Once you're at home, you actually feel like a Mumbaiite, basically, I think, right? So you're basically warm, so you're just wearing your half pants or the summer clothes, actually. But all the places, be it buses, be it trams, everything is like, super warm. All the malls are extremely warm here, yes.
I've been here for about 3 months and I'm quite new to Finland. I would really appreciate if, what sort of, health issues that would come for an Indian who is from south part of India, comes to all the way to minus 20 degrees. What could be the possible health issues that comes up in the early starts? for a middle-aged person and for children?
That's a very interesting question. And I'm from the south part of India. I'm from Andhra Pradesh. So I have seen plus 38, 39 degrees. And coming to Finland with minus 30 degrees, I really didn't feel or it didn't experience any such kind of dramatic changes in my health. But at the end, it all comes up to the individual's own immunity system, if I have to straightforward answer it. But the basic things you will be facing is like cold, cough, and all, which you can get it treated from the local medical stores, the basic medications that you can get it from the local stores. And with just some home basic remedies, it should be treated. It's not such a big problem at all.
I started having some, blood in the nose as soon as I came here. And then later on, had some kind of problems with the eyes because of dryness in the air. I don't know, is that because of the weather?
Nosebleeds are pretty common. It's because of the dryness in the air, and you can get it moisturized by using the oil or the kind of sprays that are available in the local medical stores. It's not a problem at all. In fact, it's a natural way of your body to balance the heat inside, so it's throwing out the blood. It's absolutely normal. You don't need to panic about it at all. But if you feel that you're drenched with blood, the whole shirt and the pants, then I would recommend that you go to the hospital and ask your doctor. But basic remedies like pressing your nose and staying in a right position and putting hot pack or cold packs on your nose and neck, it should help stop them.
At home, we keep humidifiers in the winter time. So it helps with getting rid of the dryness. And of course, apply good body lotions or creams. But this is mainly in the winter months, not otherwise. So vitamin E is, of course, needed for the skin, and vitamin D, that's mandatory here. I guess, I'm not sure, Soumya, did you cover it or not? But if you go to the Finnish healthcare system, they say from the birth till the death, it's mandatory 10 micrograms because there's less sun here. Indian skin tone, which is a bit darker, you might even want to take 20 or 30 micrograms.
To head concussions also, so just be careful when you're walking and use the skin-proof shoes. Very true.
Yeah, I'm Shaina. I want to ask about immigration help for the Indians. If there is any group, we are in some difficult situation. We recently came to Finland, and for a job. And in the probation period, the job was ended. So now I don't know what to do next. So is there any platform where can I get the help?
That if you are losing your job, your residence permit is valid. You can search your job within the same field. If the field is getting changed, you got to tell that to the Migri.
Chirag, I would like to say that we came from Prague, so we do not have residence permit with us. We applied for it, but before the grant of the residence permit, we lost the job.
So maybe I think this is a very specific question with one particular situation. I'm sure, Chirag, you can help her. So, sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Shaina.
Shaina,
Yes,
I think
Shaina.
you can reach out to Chirag. His details were there shared, and probably he can help here. But this is a very typical situation, not very common with everyone. So I think still Chirag is quite experienced with relocation and immigration matters. So among us, he's the best guy who can help you.
But I just wanted to understand that if we're traveling, are we allowed to carry our supplements or our medication?
It's a good question. It depends on the amount of the medication that you're carrying, and it also needs a prescription because now the rules have changed. They might ask, and it is very painful to see the medication going into the dump bin in the airport. So I would really recommend carry in small doses and have a prescription written. So it will be very good.
If they are like vitamin D's or other, daily nutraceutical supplements, those also need prescription?
As I said, it depends on the amount you're carrying. If there are like a couple of pills in the box, then it's okay, but it's still better you have a prescription. And they are available in Finland also. So everything is available here, the supplements. So you really don't need to carry them actually, to be frank.
Yeah, so thank you everyone. I think it has been an overwhelming response for us online. We are checking all the questions, but I would like to re-emphasize that all your questions would be answered, but we are on top of our hour, and this would be an end of the session. Please reach out to the speakers offline, and they would really help you out with any of the doubts you have. With that note, I welcome you all once again to Finland, and who are yet to come here, welcome to you all too. And you all have a great evening. Please follow us on Friends of India page to know more about the upcoming events which we would be organizing.
One more thing just to add. So thank you a lot to other volunteers here, Harini, Soumya, Ramya, Kabira, Minnie, and Shama. It takes a lot of effort to put this thing together. Sorry, Kit and Chirag also, who are online with us. But it's a humble effort to help you guys for a safe transition from coming to Finland to living in Finland. So welcome to this lovely country. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.